The champagne glass shattered against the wall, missing Zara's head by inches. She didn't flinch. Couldn't afford to. The 7 men around the table had gone deadly quiet, waiting to see if the black waitress would break, would run, would show the fear they expected. Instead, Zara Mitchell looked directly at the man who'd thrown the glass, Kang Ji-hoon, Seoul's most feared underground king, and said in perfect Korean, "Your aim is terrible. I've seen better throws from children at a playground." The room exploded. 2 men lunged forward. Another reached for his weapon. But Ji-hoon raised one hand, and everyone froze like someone had pressed pause on reality. "You speak Korean," he said, his voice dangerously soft. "I speak 6 languages," Zara replied, her dark eyes never leaving his. "Korean is just one of them. Would you like me to insult you in the others too, or should we stick with one for now?" 3 weeks earlier, Zara had arrived in Seoul with everything she owned in 2 suitcases and a dream that was already dying. Medical school debt had crushed her. Her mother's medical bills had finished the job. When the teaching agency offered her a position in South Korea with enough pay to send money home, she'd taken it without hesitation. But teaching English to businessmen wasn't enough. So she picked up weekend shifts at the Golden Lotus, an upscale restaurant in Gangnam where the tips were good and the questions were few. "Private dining room at the back," her manager, Mrs. Kim, had warned on Zara's first day. "Very important guests come there, very dangerous guests. You see nothing, hear nothing, speak nothing. Especially you, they don't like foreigners asking questions, be invisible." Zara had perfected invisibility back home in Atlanta. Being a young black woman in predominantly white spaces had taught her how to shrink, how to smile, how to swallow rage until it sat like a stone in her belly. She'd thought Seoul would be different. She'd been wrong. The racism was different here, more subtle, more systematic. People stared. Children pointed. Old women clutched their purses tighter when she passed. Store owners followed her around like she might steal something. And every single day, someone would touch her hair without permission or ask if she was a dancer or a singer, as if those were the only jobs black women could have. But Zara had learned Korean in college, had fallen in love with the dramas and the music and the language's beautiful complexity. She'd studied the culture, learned the customs, understood the hierarchy. She just never used it at work. Mrs. Kim was right. Invisibility was safer. Until the night she couldn't stay silent anymore. She was clearing plates from the private room, moving like a ghost between men in expensive suits, when she heard it. A younger guy with slicked-back hair was speaking rapid Korean, laughing as he talked. "The shipment arrives next week. American women are so easy. Promise them a modeling contract, they believe anything. Stupid and desperate, just how we like them." Zara's hands tightened on the plates. Trafficking. They were trafficking women from America. "Black ones especially," another man added. "Nobody looks for them as hard. Nobody cares as much. Perfect product." The stone in Zara's belly turned to lava. She thought of her younger cousin Destiny, 16 and dreaming of modeling. She thought of the girls she'd met at Incheon Airport, clutching a contract for a modeling agency that had all the hallmarks of a scam. She thought of every black girl back home who'd disappear and become a statistic. "Is there a problem?" The voice was cold, precise, controlled. Kang Ji-hoon had noticed her standing motionless, had seen something in her face that gave her away. Every instinct screamed at Zara to apologize, to bow, to leave. But she thought of Destiny, thought of all the girls who wouldn't get a chance to escape. "Yes," Zara said clearly, in Korean that made every head snap toward her. "There's a problem. You're sitting here planning to destroy women's lives, and you're doing it in my presence like I'm too stupid to understand. That's disrespectful." The silence was deafening. "How dare you?" the slicked-back guy started. "Enough!" Ji-hoon's single word cut like a blade, and the room fell silent. His eyes fixed on Zara, and she finally understood why they called him the Ice King. His gaze could freeze oceans. "You speak Korean." "Fluently. I also understand when men are planning crimes." Zara set the plates down with deliberate care. "Trafficking women from my country, Women who look like me. Did you think I'd just smile and bow while you discussed it? You have no idea what you're interfering with. I know exactly what I'm interfering with. Human trafficking, modern slavery, evil. Zara lifted her chin. And I know you're the boss here, which makes you responsible for all of it. One of the men reached under the table for a weapon, but Ji-hoon raised his hand again, stopping everything. Everyone out, he said quietly, except her. The men filed out, slicked hair shooting Zara a look that promised violence. When the door closed, Ji-hoon stood. He was taller than she'd expected, broader. Everything about him screamed danger wrapped in expensive fabric. Do you have any idea what you just did? He asked. Yes, I called out criminals. You can fire me, deport me, whatever. I don't care. But I won't stay silent while girls who look like me get sold into slavery. You think I'm a trafficker. I think you're his boss, which makes you complicit. Zara met his ice-cold stare with her own fire. Or are you going to tell me you didn't know what your people were doing? Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment. Then he did something completely unexpected. He pulled out his phone, made a call, spoke rapid Korean that Zara caught pieces of. When he hung up, his expression was unreadable. That operation is canceled, permanently. The men involved will be handled. Zara blinked, just like that. Just like that, trafficking is low profit, high risk, and morally repugnant. I only tolerated it because Park, the man you heard, had other useful connections. He moved closer, and Zara forced herself not to step back. But watching you defend your people with such fire was interesting. I'm not here to be interesting to you. No, you're here because you're drowning in debt. He said it casually, like he was discussing the weather. Medical school loans, your mother's cancer treatment. You work 3 jobs and send 70% of your income home to Atlanta. You live in a closet-sized apartment in Itaewon and eat instant noodles for dinner. Zara's face burned. How do you? I own this restaurant. I know everything about everyone who works here. He showed her his phone screen. I just paid off your mother's medical bills, all of them, and your student loans, transferred directly to the creditors. The world tilted sideways. What? Why would you? Because you're brave, and brave people who speak Korean and understand cultural nuance are rare. Ji-hoon pulled out a black card, held it between 2 fingers. You don't work as a waitress anymore. You work for me, as my cultural consultant and translator. I just insulted you to your face. Exactly, which means you're either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. His lips curved slightly, not quite a smile, but close. I'm hopping for brave. Brave people are useful. They don't lie to protect themselves. I'm not working for a criminal. You already are. This entire restaurant launders money through my organization. The money you've been sending home, already cleaned through my businesses. You've been complicit for 3 weeks. He tilted his head. But now you can be complicit and effective. Help me navigate American culture. Translate not just words but meaning. And in exchange, your mother gets the best cancer care money can buy, your debt disappears, and you finish your medical degree at any university you choose. It was a devil's bargain. Zara knew it. But she also knew her mother had months left without proper treatment. Months before the cancer won. The trafficking stops, she said firmly. That's non-negotiable. Any operation that involves exploiting women, especially Black women, I won't be part of it. Agreed, the trafficking ends today. Ji-hoon stepped closer, invading her space. But understand this, Zara Mitchell. Once you enter my world, you don't leave. You'll see things that could get you killed for witnessing. You'll know things that make you complicit in ways you can't imagine. Are you prepared for that? Zara thought of her mother, thought of destiny, thought of all the reasons she'd come to Seoul in the first place. Yes, she said, I'm prepared. Then welcome to the Empire. He handed her the card. This number reaches me directly. Be at the Kang Tower tomorrow at noon. Wear something professional. And Zara, his eyes locked onto hers. Don't make me regret this. After he left, Zara sank into a chair, her whole body shaking. What had she just agreed to? But when her phone rang 20 minutes later and her mother was crying with joy because the hospital had confirmed her treatment was fully paid, Zara knew she'd make the same choice again. Some devils were worth dancing with. The next 4 weeks were the strangest of Zara's life. Ji-hoon didn't ease her in gently. He threw her into the deep end of his world and expected her to swim. Meetings where millions of dollars changed hands with a handshake. Negotiations where one wrong word could mean death. Territory disputes that played out like chess matches with human lives as the pieces. "Tell me what I missed," he'd say after each meeting, and Zara would explain the micro-expressions, the cultural implications, the things his Korean upbringing hadn't prepared him for. When he crossed his arms and leaned back, that was defensive, Zara explained after one particularly tense negotiation. In Western culture, that means he doesn't trust you. He was waiting for you to sweeten the deal. "I don't sweeten deals." "Then you don't close them. Americans need to feel like they're winning, even when they're not. Give them something small that costs you nothing but feels like a victory." Ji-hoon studied her. "You're very good at this." "I'm good at reading people. Medical school teaches you that, how to see what patients aren't saying, what they're too scared to admit." Zara sipped the expensive whiskey he'd poured her. "Plus, being black in America means you learn to read rooms fast. It's survival." "Tell me about that," Ji-hoon said, surprising her. "About being black in America, I want to understand." So Zara told him. About growing up in Atlanta, about her father who'd been killed by police during a traffic stop, about her mother who'd worked 3 jobs to keep Zara in private school, about the constant code switching between her home voice and her professional voice, about the exhaustion of being twice as good to be considered half as qualified. "It sounds lonely," Ji-hoon said when she finished. "It is, but it also makes you strong, makes you pay attention to details everyone else misses." Zara met his eyes. "That's why I'm good at this job. I've spent my whole life translating between worlds." In Korea, we have a similar concept. Jeong, a connection that develops between people who share experiences. I think we have Jeong, you and I. "I think you're trying to make me feel less guilty about working for a criminal." "Is it working?" "Not even a little bit." But Zara smiled despite herself. "What made you like this? The Ice King who controls half of Seoul." Ji-hoon's expression shuddered. "That's not relevant." "It's completely relevant. You asked about my life, fair trade." He was silent for so long Zara thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "My father died when I was 17. Rival gang. They made me watch. Made me understand that love was a weakness they could exploit. I decided that day I would never give anyone that power over me again." "So you built walls." "I built an empire. The walls were necessary for survival." "But what's the point of surviving if you're not living?" Zara leaned forward. "Ji-hoon, you're so busy protecting yourself that you've forgotten what you're protecting yourself for." Spoken like someone who hasn't lost everything. "I almost lost my mother. That's close enough." Her voice softened. "But I didn't become cold. I became more determined to fight for what matters. There's a difference between protecting yourself and imprisoning yourself." Ji-hoon stared at her, something shifting behind his ice-blue eyes. "You're very presumptuous for someone who's been here 4 weeks." "I'm American. We don't do subtle." Zara stood to leave. "And I'm black, which means I've had to be brave my whole life just to survive. You're not as scary as you think you are." "I should be, to you especially." "Why? Because you're dangerous." She gestured at his pristine office. "I've survived worse than you, Ji-hoon. I've survived poverty, racism, watching my father die, almost losing my mother. You're just a man who's scared of feeling something real." The words hung in the air between them. Then Ji-hoon stood, crossed to where she was, and stopped so close she could feel the heat radiating off him. "You see too much," he said quietly. "Someone has to. Everyone else just sees the Ice King. I see the man who plays piano at 3 in the morning and keeps pictures of his father hidden in his desk drawer." Zara's heart was pounding. "I see the man who canceled a trafficking operation because I asked. The man who's trying to be better than his reputation." "You're going to get yourself killed with that perception. Or maybe I'm going to save your life." Ji-hoon's hand came up, cupped her face with unexpected gentleness. "Do you have any idea how dangerous you are to me?" No, tell me. You make me want things I can't have. Feel things I can't afford to feel. You're fire to my ice, and I'm terrified of what happens when you melt me. Zara's breath caught. Ji-hoon. I'm falling for you, Zara Mitchell. Falling for your courage, your fire, your ridiculous belief that you can fix a broken man by seeing past his walls. And I don't know what to do with these feelings because feeling anything is a weakness I can't afford. Then don't afford it. Send me away. I can't. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I've tried. God knows I've tried. But you've gotten under my skin past every defense I built, and now I'm terrified because loving you makes you a target. Who says I need protecting? Zara stepped closer, bringing them chest to chest. I'm not some damsel in distress. I'm a woman who's survived systems designed to break me. Stop treating me like I'm fragile. You're not fragile, you're fierce. That's why he stopped, jaw clenching. Say it. That's why I love you. The words hit Zara like a physical force. She should step back. Should remember this was her employer, a criminal, a man who operated outside every law and moral boundary she believed in. Instead, she kissed him. It was fire meeting ice, and the ice melted. Ji-hoon's arms wrapped around her like she was the only real thing in a world of shadows, and Zara let herself sink into the kiss, into the impossible feelings she'd been fighting for weeks. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-hoon pressed his forehead to hers. This changes everything, he whispered. I know. It makes you vulnerable, makes us both vulnerable. I know that too. Zara's hands gripped his shirt. But I'm tired of being afraid, tired of pretending I don't feel this, tired of being invisible to everyone except you. You could never be invisible to me, not from the moment you stood in that dining room and called out evil like you had an army behind you. He kissed her again, softer this time. But Zara, my world doesn't allow happiness. It doesn't allow love. If people find out you mean something to me, they'll use you to hurt me. His phone buzzed, then again. Then it started ringing with an urgency that made them both freeze. Ji-hoon answered, his face going from soft to stone in seconds. When? How many? I'm on my way. What happened? Zara asked as he grabbed his jacket. Rival gang hit one of our warehouses. 4 of my people are dead, 6 missing. His eyes were already distant, calculating. I have to handle this. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. Ji-hoon, I'm a trained medical professional. If people are hurt, I can help. These people don't need medical care, they need war. He cupped her face one more time, kissed her hard. Stay here, lock the door, don't leave until I call you. Promise me. I promise. But promises made to criminals aren't worth much when the world catches fire. Ji-hoon left, taking his security with him. Zara paced the penthouse for 15 minutes before her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Miss Mitchell. The voice was smooth, cold. I represent the Beek family organization. We have a mutual friend, Kang Ji-hoon. Every instinct screamed danger. I don't know what you're talking about. Please don't insult my intelligence. We know you're the Black translator. We know you mean something to the Ice King. We know he's currently distracted by a warehouse situation we created specifically to get him away from you. Zara's blood turned to ice. What do you want? A meeting, just conversation. Come to the old Dongdaemun warehouse in 1 hour. Come alone. If you tell Ji-hoon, if you bring anyone, we kill the 6 people we took from his warehouse, starting with his cousin. How do I know they're even alive? A scream came through the phone, male, agonized, begging. Then silence. 1 hour, Miss Mitchell. Don't disappoint us. The line went dead. Zara stared at the phone, mind racing. She should call Ji-hoon, should tell him what was happening. But they had hostages, people who would die if she didn't go. She thought of her promise, thought of Ji-hoon's face when he'd said loving her made her a target. Then she thought of 6 people suffering because they worked for the man she loved. Zara grabbed her coat and left the penthouse. In the elevator, she texted Ji-hoon, I'm sorry, I love you, trust that I know what I'm doing. Then she turned off her phone and walked into the Seoul night. praying she'd survive long enough to explain. The Dongdaemun warehouse was a hollowed-out shell of a building, empty except for shadows and the smell of rust and blood. Zara found them in the main space, a dozen men in dark suits surrounding 6 battered, bloodied people tied to chairs. And in the center of it all, a man who could only be the Beek family boss. He was older than Ji-hoon, maybe mid-50s, with silver hair and eyes like a snake. "Miss Mitchell, right on time," he gestured to the hostages. "As you can see, they're alive, uncomfortable but alive. Let them go. All in good time. First, we talk business." He circled her slowly. "You're an interesting woman. American, black, educated, brave enough to speak back to dangerous men. Ji-hoon chose well." "I'm not his property." "No, then why are you here? Why risk yourself for his people if you don't belong to him?" The boss stopped in front of her. "Love makes people do foolish things, predictable things. What do you want from me?" "Simple. I want you to convince Ji-hoon to stop his expansion into our territory, to share power instead of hoarding it. You're his weakness now. Use that influence." "And if I refuse?" "Then these 6 die. Then we target his other operations. Then we make his life hell until he breaks." The boss leaned closer. "But I don't think you'll refuse. I think you love him too much to watch him suffer." This was the trap. They didn't want Ji-hoon's power. They wanted to prove he could be controlled through a woman. Through her. If she agreed, Ji-hoon would lose respect, be seen as weak, eventually lose everything. If she refused, people died. "I need time," Zara said carefully. 3 days to convince him." "You have 2 days. After that, we start killing people, 1 per day." The boss gestured, and his men started untying the hostages. "But Miss Mitchell, Ji-hoon can never know we threatened you. He needs to think this is your idea, that you're scared of the violence. If he finds out the truth, we kill your mother. We already have people in Atlanta. Beautiful neighborhood she lives in. Would be a shame if something happened." Terror like Zara had never known flooded through her. "You wouldn't." "I already have a team in place. 1 phone call and she's dead. Dead because you couldn't follow instructions." He smiled. "Now go, convince your ice king to melt, or everyone you love burns." The hostages stumbled out, and Zara followed on shaking legs. Outside, she turned her phone back on. 23 missed calls from Ji-hoon. 5 voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. Before she could call him back, a car screeched to a stop beside her, and Ji-hoon burst out, his face a mask of fury and fear. "Zara," he crossed to her in 3 strides, hands on her shoulders. "Where were you? Why did you turn off your phone? I've been losing my mind." "I needed air. I got overwhelmed and went for a walk." "Don't lie to me." His eyes searched hers. "Something happened. Tell me what happened." This was the moment. Zara could tell him the truth, about the Beek family, about the threats, about her mother being in danger. He'd protect her. He'd go to war. And her mother would die. Or she could lie. Could plant the seeds that would make him compromise, make him weak, ultimately destroy everything he'd built. And maybe keep everyone alive. "I'm scared," Zara whispered, and it wasn't entirely a lie. "Ji-hoon, I'm terrified. This world, the violence, people dying, I can't do this. I thought I was strong enough, but I'm not." His expression softened. "Zara, I need you to stop, to compromise with the other families, to find peace instead of always choosing violence." The words tasted like poison. "Please, for me, for us, I can't watch you destroy yourself." Ji-hoon went very still. When he spoke, his voice was careful. "You want me to show weakness?" "I want you to show wisdom. There's a difference." "In my world, there isn't." He released her, stepped back. "Compromise is death, Zara. If I show weakness now, every organization in Seoul will come for me. I'll lose everything. Better to lose territory than to lose your soul." Zara forced herself to meet his eyes. "I love you, but I can't love the Ice King. I need you to be more than that." "I am what I am. I warned you about this." His voice was going cold, walls slamming back into place. "If you can't accept that, then maybe we should end this." Zara's heart was breaking, but she pushed forward. "I didn't come to Seoul to fall in love with a gangster. I came to save my mother. Mission accomplished. Maybe it's time I go home. You don't mean that. Don't I? She was crying now, hot tears that felt like betrayal. I'm tired, Ji-hoon. Tired of being afraid. Tired of wondering if you'll come home. Tired of this world that only knows violence. Ji-hoon's face had gone completely blank, the Ice King fully restored. Then go. Nobody's keeping you here. Just like that. Just like that. I won't beg. I won't compromise who I am for anyone. He turned toward his car. I'll arrange your flight home. By tomorrow, you'll be in Atlanta. Ji-hoon, wait. Goodbye, Zara Mitchell, it was. Unexpected. He drove away, leaving her standing alone on a Seoul street, her heart in pieces and her mother's life hanging by a thread. Zara had 2 days. 2 days to figure out how to save Ji-hoon from compromising, how to save her mother from the Beek family, and how to do it all without getting everyone killed. She spent the first day in her apartment, staring at the ceiling, trying to think. The boss had been clear. Ji-hoon couldn't know about the threats, which meant Zara had to find another way. On the second day, she did something insane. She called the Beek family directly. I have a counter-proposal, she told the boss. You don't actually want Ji-hoon to compromise. You want him destroyed. Because a weakened Ji-hoon will spend the rest of his life clawing back power, coming for you. You're smarter than you look, the boss said. Keep talking. I can give you access to him, close enough to end this permanently. But in exchange, you leave my mother alone. Forever. Pull your people out of Atlanta and never contact my family again. And why would you betray the man you love? Because love isn't enough when my mother dies for it. Zara's voice was dead. I choose her. I'll always choose her. When? Tomorrow night, charity gala at the Shilla Hotel. Ji-hoon will be there. I can get you into his private area. Zara closed her eyes. You finish it there. You're cold, Miss Mitchell, colder than I expected. The boss laughed. Tomorrow night, then, and remember, if this is a trap, your mother dies slowly. I understand. Zara hung up and immediately started planning. Because this was absolutely a trap. She just needed Ji-hoon to understand what she was doing without her being able to tell him directly. The gala was everything Zara expected, wealth and corruption wrapped in designer gowns and tuxedos. She wore a stunning emerald dress that made her dark skin glow, her natural hair styled in an elegant updo. She looked like she belonged in this world of power and danger. Ji-hoon was across the ballroom, surrounded by associates, and he hadn't looked at her once since she arrived. His face was carved from ice, and Zara's heart ached with longing and fear. She moved through the crowd until she was close enough to, accidentally, bump into his assistant. I'm so sorry, Zara said, steadying the woman. Then, in English with her Atlanta accent thick, these heels are killing me. Y'all know where a sister can sit down. The assistant smiled politely and moved on. But as Zara steadied herself, she'd slipped a note into the woman's pocket. A note that said in Korean, Beek family, coming tonight. I'm the bait. Trust me. I love you. Use the old signal. If I touch my right earring, they're here. Would he get it? Would his assistant even check her pocket? Zara had to trust that the man who'd learned everything about her would think to look. At midnight, she led the Beek assassins to Ji-hoon's private suite. 8 men, armed, deadly. The boss had sent his best. He's inside, Zara said, her voice steady even as her heart screamed. Alone, vulnerable, he won't expect this. You're certain? I'm certain, she met the boss's eyes. My mother. Safe as soon as this is done. He gestured for his men to move. You made the smart choice, Miss Mitchell. They entered the suite. Zara followed, her hand subtly touching her right earring, the signal. The room was dark, empty. It's a trap, the boss snarled, whirling toward Zara. The lights blazed on. Ji-hoon stood surrounded by 3 dozen of his people, all armed. But his eyes were only on Zara. No, he said quietly. It's justice. What happened next was fast and brutal. The Beek men tried to fight, tried to escape. None succeeded. Within minutes, it was over, 8 men dead or captured, the boss himself on his knees with a gun to his head. Did you really think, Ji-hoon said, walking toward the boss, that the woman I love would betray me? That she wouldn't find a way to warn me, even when you threatened her mother? She came to us, the boss spat. She offered the deal. Because you gave her no choice. Because you threatened the one person in the world she loves more than me. Ji-hoon's voice could have frozen the sun. But Zara Mitchell is brilliant. She found a way to trap you, to save everyone, to turn your plan against you. He crouched down, met the boss's eyes. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer all Beek family holdings to me, tonight, and then you're going to disappear. If I ever see you again, if you ever even think about her or her family, I will make you beg for the death I'm not giving you tonight. The boss nodded frantically, and Ji-hoon's men dragged him away. Then Ji-hoon turned to Zara. She was shaking, the adrenaline crashing through her system like a drug. You learned my signal, she whispered. The earring thing. I learned everything about you the moment you walked into my life. Every gesture, every tell, every way you communicate without words. He crossed to her, pulled her into his arms. Don't ever scare me like that again. When I realized what you were doing, when I understood they'd threatened your mother. I couldn't tell you. They said they'd kill her. I know, and you found a way around it anyway. You brilliant, terrifying woman. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I love you. I love your courage and your intelligence and your faith that we could outsmart them. They threatened my mother, Zara said, her voice breaking. My mama, the woman who sacrificed everything for me, I couldn't let them hurt her. I know, and I'll make sure they never can. Ji-hoon pulled back to look at her. But Zara, this won't be the last threat. Won't be the last time someone tries to use you against me. Being with me means living with that danger. I know, Zara cupped his face in her hands. But I choose it anyway. I choose you. Even knowing the risks, even knowing what it costs, I choose you, Ji-hoon. The Ice King's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. They kissed as Seoul glittered outside. Two people from completely different worlds who'd found something worth fighting for in each other. If you're still with me after this emotional roller coaster, absolutely smash that subscribe button right now. This story is far from over, and you need to be here for what happens next. Drop a comment telling me, did Zara make the right choice? What would you have done in her position? And hit that like button so more people can find this story. I promise you, this is just the beginning. 6 months later, Zara woke to sunlight streaming through the penthouse windows. Ji-hoon's arm was draped over her waist, his breathing steady in sleep. She'd finished her medical degree. Her mother was in remission. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number, just a photo. Zara's blood turned to ice as she opened it. The image showed her mother, healthy and smiling, leaving the hospital in Atlanta after her latest checkup. Nothing threatening about it, except for the red dot visible on her chest, a laser sight. The caption beneath read, "The Beek boss had a brother. Did you think it was really over? Did you think you could destroy our family without consequences? Watch your mother die slowly, Miss Mitchell, from across the world helpless, just like you made us feel. This is only the beginning. Every person you love will fall, one by one, until you beg for death. Sleep well if you can. Beek Minseok." Zara's scream woke Ji-hoon. He read the message, and his face transformed into something terrifying. "Get dressed," he said, his voice deadly calm. "We're going to Atlanta, now." Ji-hoon, what if it's too late? What if? It's not too late. It won't be too late. He was already on his phone, barking orders in Korean. I have people in Atlanta. They're moving to your mother's location now. But Zara, you need to understand, this war just became personal. And when I fight for the people I love, I don't stop until every enemy is destroyed. Zara nodded, tears streaming down her face. But as she dressed with shaking hands, one thought kept circling through her mind like a vulture. How many people would die because she dared to love the Ice King? And was her mother about to become the first casualty? The screen on her phone lit up again. Another message, another photo.